Hello and welcome to my exhibition. I am hoping that the sort of crane that I have rigged up with 2 boxes and a piece of moving furniture will work, but we'll give this a try. For those of you who wanted to see the exhibition, this is going to be your best way to see it if you are not here on Svalbard, and I think that many of you are not. So I hope you enjoy it. I hope you will enjoy the explanations that I give. I will come and read some of the statements that I have here, and some of them may not make sense to you because this exhibition is specifically directed for people who live in my community. So there are some topics that are covered that are specific to us, but others of course will be much more general. Anyway, thank you for being interested. I hope you enjoy it, and let's hope that this jury-rigged thing that I have put together to move through the exhibition works. So let's give that a try. I do think it's a bit smoother than me moving around. So these pieces here that are here and on the floor, this is part of a series of 3 questioning installations. What you're seeing here is debris that has been left behind on beaches and has been collected. There's a piece of coal on the plinth that you can see. I don't know how well you can see it. Let's see if I can zoom in on that a little bit. And in the bag, which is down below, there is a lot of debris from fishing that washes up, and in particular fishing nets. And these are not only a danger to fish and dolphins and things that get caught in them that are not supposed to, but also reindeers get their antlers tangled in them and end up dying of starvation on the beaches. They go down to the beaches to eat seaweed, then they get tangled in these nets and then they die. It is in fact very, very sad. There are a number of photographs and captures of these this very sad event and people trying to free the reindeer from various things that have washed up on the beach. We're going to move along now to this section. Let's see how I do this. I think it's doing pretty well. Totally unprofessional here. So I will read what I have to say about these pieces, and then we'll go in for a little closer look. I have it in both English and Norwegian, and you'll be happy to know I will read you the English. This is the Modern Martyr series. These paintings were made over several years. I hadn't realized how much time managing the Spitsbergen Artist Center and residency would take. It became increasingly difficult to find time to do my own work, and that combined with a renewed passion for cyanotypes meant my time for painting was very low. The idea of Modern Martyrs came about as I considered the fact that the reason we are in the situation of the Anthropocene climate change is due to our greed, the burning wish to have more money, more convenience, more things. It fueled a wasteful use of resources with no thought for future generations. I came to see the reduction of the Arctic ice as a sacrifice of the natural world to our greed. At the same time, I had become interested in the Eastern Orthodox iconography of saints and decided to treat the icebergs as icons of climate change saints. Let's have a little closer look. This will be handheld, so it won't be steady, but that's okay. Many of you have already seen these paintings. Let me put this back up. But to give you a closer view, we'll walk around the corner. Some of these paintings were painted during my residency in Iceland. Both of these two were painted on wood and then attached to found objects that I discovered. One of them was out in the tundra and the other was up on the beach at Hotel Nessa. The one on the tundra was probably a dynamite box that was cultural heritage, but we're not going to tell anyone about that. This is a found object. It was actually found in this building, which means somebody else found it outside and brought it in, but I don't know who. And I think that it is actually a beautiful piece of modern sculpture. The question about this is an issue of cultural heritage. I will read you the statement that goes with these three pieces here. This piece is called Conundrum, and it was done with assistance from Dina Brode-Rogers and Lena von Goedeke. Conundrum is a tricky or difficult problem that may seem impossible to solve. All the materials were found either at the Artist Center building or within Longyearbyen. For the sustainable tourism, crushed cans, gathered street trash, a collection bag from 2024 beach cleanup. Cultural heritage was rusted metal found in a corner, nails collected from the last bonfire on the beach. And green energy was coal collected from Hotel Nessa and the abandoned state oil barrel. The definition of sustainable is capable of being maintained at a steady level without exhausting natural resources or causing severe ecological damage. How can tourism be sustainable when everything must be shipped in? Can the environmental costs of tourism be reduced by making it a luxury destination? And is that an ethical solution? Should the tax structure be changed so that potential tourists are taxed, a service tax or a fuel tax, and that is provided directly to the town? Or should Svalbard be left to the bears and the reindeer and only a few people for research and monitoring purposes? Our values determine our choices. How do we value high Arctic tourism? Until this year, locally mined coal was the fuel that provided Longyearbyen with all its energy needs. Now the coal mine is closing and diesel is the preferred fuel. When both are fossil fuels, why is diesel that must be drilled from the ground, then shipped to Svalbard and is subject to market price fluctuations better than local coal? If green energy is the goal, how do we define what is green? The bouquet of solutions that Longyearbyen needs to replace its existing single fuel is complex. For example, windmills are made using fossil fuels and plastic, which is also made from petroleum. If they're damaged, removing the damaged structure and acquiring a new one will be time-consuming and uses more fossil fuel and plastic. If the entire energy production chain is not considered, then is our thinking really green? All this, not just the windmill on site, are part of its energy cost. What is the most green energy? And perhaps the question should be, can we reduce the amount of energy we need? On Svalbard, cultural heritage is anything made by humans before 1 January 1946, which is a simple criteria. But cultural heritage is more complicated than a single date. The displayed heap of rusted metal objects was brought into the Artist Center by someone who did not recognize their value as cultural heritage. They didn't see its value, and now without its context, is it still valuable? Is this metal more valuable than the bits of, I'm losing my place. Is this metal more culturally valuable than the pointy houses, which are just post to 1945 and whose destruction is currently debated? Rusted metal and bits of wood are found everywhere on the tundra. Are they really valued? Right now, the rich and heroic post-war history of Longyearbyen is not protected and at risk of being lost. How do we value the cultural heritage of today's Longyearbyen? Here are 3 more pieces from the Modern Martyrs series. All of these pieces were made with metal leaf, either gold, silver, or copper. You're also getting a bit of a tour of the exhibition spaces here, which are pretty big. So this piece is called Wolf Moon. This was done simultaneously with the Modern Martyrs series, again, because I loved the use of the metal foil, in this case silver leaf. I did 3 series of these moons. There was, I think, Wolf Moon, Hunger Moon, and Dark Moon, and I've loved them all for different reasons. And I was really happy to be able to see this one up on a big wall. One of the things that was important to me was that this exhibition should allow people here to see some of the work I did in Greenland. So this is the Echy Glacier. The Echy Glacier was done for the Art Museum of Ilulissat, and it was intended to be done as a puzzle in that 10 to 12 pieces were to be out, and the guests to the whatever venue this is going to be at were invited to complete the picture. Some pieces would be missing so that the picture could never be completed, which was my way of hoping to get across the message is that we cannot fix the glaciers. We have already lost too much ice, so they cannot be repaired. We do need to figure out ways to mitigate this situation. This is a print on canvas that was done here locally. It's not the original pieces. So, but I wanted people here to be able to see it. I will try and walk a little closer so that you can have a look at it. I'm really, really happy with this. This will open in Edinburgh along with some other paintings on the 28th of February, and I will go to Edinburgh for that exhibition. The other really big piece here is this, which is Drift Ice Loss and Change. This was done at the beginning of COVID. I'll see if we can get a little closer and then sort of do a little tour along it. There's a lot in this one. It's a very personal piece. It involved my reflections on what was happening, not just with climate change, but also with our situation of COVID. And for me, the drift ice was a perfect metaphor for COVID. It was watching the drift ice north of Norway come together and come apart as I returned to Svalbard for my quarantine was just eye-opening, and I loved that image. I loved what I saw. I loved the movement of the ice. It was very profound for me, and I decided that I needed to start painting drift ice, and I painted quite a bit. I may paint more. It's hard for me to tell now what I'm going to do in the future, but I'll do something. But this painting has a lot of personal iconography in it, as well as being metaphorical in many ways. There are islands that I have lived at or that have been important to me in my life. There are animals that are here, that are in there, that I think were important. There are, among them, the bunch of octopus. There are fish. There's the horse I had in my childhood. There is the dog of a friend who died while I was painting this, and he asked if I would please include that into the picture so that there would be a little memorial to his dog Nemo in this. So it's full of a lot of iconography, and people have seen other things in it, things that I didn't see. For example, some people have seen reindeer in it, people have seen seals in it. I never painted those things into it, but it was really interesting to me that people did see them in here. I'll show you the dog because everyone says, oh, there's a dog. Where's the dog? Well, the dog is right here. So this is Nemo, who was one of the world's great dogs. He was a phenomenal dog. I have to move some chairs so we can continue this. Probably should have done that before, but I did not. Like I said, not a professional piece. But hopefully it is meaningful to you. It was certainly meaningful to me. I love this piece. I love making it. I look at it now and I cannot imagine how I did this. That is amazing to me. We're moving on now to one of the pieces which was called part of the Sanctuary series. This one was the interior of an ice cave, and I've always been very fond of this one. It's like a giant blue heart beating in the ice. Let's see, I did write something about this. These paintings are from the second in my Arctic series titled Sanctuary. The idea of sanctuary is as old as humanity. We have always had places where a person could find refuge, churches, temples, holy ground, somewhere away from the world where you could be safe, at least for a while. Few people would run to the altar of a church to claim sanctuary now. The tide of faith is not as strong as it once was. But the need is still there. I think it's written in our bones that we need the sacred, whether or not we hold the beliefs of our childhood. The world has become too busy, too loud, too bright, too dangerous. Where can we escape from ourselves to ourself? These paintings depict my idea of the Arctic as a place where people have long come to reinvent themselves. There is a sense of sanctuary in these cold spaces. I hope these paintings give a sense of the enormity of nature and of our need for it. So I have two of the paintings of this series here. I'm moving my boxes in strange and inappropriate ways. There we go. The next most important exhibition or item in this exhibition that I've really wanted to do for a long time is this little diptych here. If you have not seen this before, you can go and look at it. And this was done, it's small, comparatively speaking, it's small, but I've always liked this one, and I liked experimenting with this form, the form of a diptych. I thought that was also very interesting. The reason I have a diptych like this is because this canvas and these stretchers were found here, so I was able to just use found materials to make them, and that was pretty sweet, I thought. In fact, I think I might as well state that most things here that I have made, I've used a lot of found materials because it's not easy. There is no store, there is no place you can go to buy things. This is one of the really new pieces here. This is 365 Days of Yam Yam being the mountain that is across from my my balcony that I take pictures of every day, almost every day. But I did make a discipline for about a year of photographing it every day, not always in the same place, not always in the same way, but it makes a kind of design, a shape of the year, which I really like, is month by month. So each row is a month, so it starts with January and it ends with December. The thing that I and other people thought was really interesting about this was we got to see how short the dark really was. You can have a look at it and you can see the pattern of the darkness coming and going, and it's just not that long. Most of this, I think it's because this was important to me, is that most of these images were from 2024, because I did make a practice of going out and photographing the mountain every day. So from January to the end of August is 2024. September I was in Greenland, so I took those images from 2023. October is split between 2023 and 24 because of the circumnavigation, and the last 2 months, November and December, are from 2023 because they hadn't happened yet when I had this printed. So I'll go a little closer. I know that people who lived here locally were fascinated by this because, of course, this makes concrete for them their experience in a way that they wouldn't. I'll walk along it like this first, and then we'll go and we'll look at it a little closer so you can see the actual images. But I do love the pattern of this. And it was hell to put up. I'm very grateful to the people who helped me with this, Dina Brode-Rogers and Sarah Garretts, who worked long and hard putting these up together for me. So I was very, very happy at the exhibition to see how much time people spent with these images, looking at them. Of course, it has a lot of interest for local people because it's like they can try and figure out where I was when I took these different pictures. So you get a sense of, it's really dark. You can still see the mountain there, but it's pretty dark. And down here as the dark is coming, you also get a sense of that. I'm probably more fixated on the dark right now because we are getting into January, which is the beginning of the blue season. And just to be clear, I deliberately chose to not take the same picture from the same location every single day. I thought about doing it that way, and it just seemed incredibly boring. It could be interesting, absolutely, but it just felt so not very interesting to me. So if we go towards the middle and we just start at the top, you can see there are images on that. They're dark, but there are images there. So you can get a better look of some of these in summer and going into August and September, and then down into the dark. This image over here, which we're going to walk to, gives you a sense of the room. The room is vast, as you can see. So this image was from the first exhibition I did here. This is of Svalbard Glacier, which clearly is one of my favorite glaciers on Svalbard. And this, of course, is cyanotypes. This will be going back to the US with me. What I'll do with it, I don't know, but that will be what it is. So this is, I did an interview earlier last weekend. So you get to see a little bit of what this room looks like. This is the only time that painting has ever been on one wall. It's always bent around walls. It's 10 meters. It's quite long. I would love it if an institution here bought it, but I am not holding my breath. And just, again, to give you a sense of the room as we depart. I'm not sure this is really better than my just walking, but it was worth a try. That's sort of how I figured it. And that is pretty much showing everything, or at least a taste of everything that I made during the years that I have been here. And these were some of the smaller versions of drift ice that I made. And that's it. That's the tour. Out here is the rest of the, another room of the Artist Center, which has another painting and some other things in it. And it just gives you a little sense that these exhibition rooms really are quite large. I hope you enjoyed this little tour, and thanks for coming along.